At UFC 306, we are in for a treat. The bantamweight champion and the UFC's undisputed #1 contender are going head-to-head at Sphere in Vegas on the biggest LED screen in the world. It's going to be one hell of a spectacle and honestly, probably one hell of a fight. It's a complete style clash. Knockout artist O'Malley against grind machine Dvalishvili. Now the fans and the odds for this fight are completely split, but there are a lot of X factors in this one and some technical details to look at, and we're going to break them down today. We're going to be going over Sean's striking tactics, why Merab is a machine, O'Malley's takedown defense, and what makes Merab's grappling so good.
It's going to be a fantastic fight, okay? A lot of people love Sean, a lot of people hate him at the same time. Merab was hated, now beloved. Either way, it's two guys with completely different styles, okay? I don't really need to break down the core concepts of this one for you. You should know. Sean's going to try and strike, Merab is going to try and wrestle. But it's about what goes on in between. It's about Sean's takedown defense. It's about Merab's striking as well. There's a lot to look at, and I found some lovely tidbits that we're going to go through. First thing we're going to do is just take a look at what we already know, more or less. Sean O'Malley on the feet. How does he do it? How does he get it done? What's he going to need to do against Merab? And what's he done previously against guys with a similar style to Merab, okay? First fight we're going to look at, and we're going to look at it a lot today, is Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. Now, Petr is a guy that pressured Sean, moved forward, and used his wrestling in with his boxing, basically, which is exactly what Merab's going to do. First thing we're going to talk about is the feints with Sean O'Malley, okay? You hear people talk about feints all the time, feints to set up the offense, but from a defensive perspective, all of these fakes from Sean O'Malley are what stop Yan from moving forward. Even when it's like these little shimmy shoulder fakes he uses to come in, he's thrown off Jason Herzog here as well. That's how good these fakes are. But a fake will stop someone pressuring forward, and it's combined with this teep kick as well that we're going to have a look at. Two things mixed together as a guy off the back foot he uses to stop people coming into him. We saw it in the Sterling fight as well, and any wrestler is going to want to take you back to the fence so they can shoot their takedowns. But if you can fake and get them to back up, you can get space for yourself. And Sean will wait for his opportunities and always circle back to the center, which is where he needs to be, especially against Merab. Got to the point with Aljo that these fakes off the back foot became so effective for Sean that they really stopped this forward pressure. Until then, he could wait and sit on the lateral movement and come right back to the center again. But again, these fakes from Sean were what actually started to get Aljo to back up. And once he had that, combined with the space from the kick, he was able to turn this fight around. It's now Sean pressuring Aljamain. He's on the back foot, the wrestler's back to the fence, and it's not because he's throwing, it's just because he's feinting. And the threat of that is giving him the space he needs. And again, against the fence here, walks forward, little teep fake, doesn't throw it, Aljo goes back. Walking forward again, jab fake. Aljo is just walking backwards this whole time. And again, this is the kind of thing he's going to need to do against Merab. Now, why doesn't he just throw punches, right? If you're someone who maybe doesn't watch the sport a lot, doesn't train, you know, if you're getting backed up, you throw, you commit to a punch, you open yourself up to counter strikes, you open yourself up to level changes. As soon as you overcommit to something, your opponent might be waiting for that before they even shoot the takedown. If you've got the ability to fake and create space with your fakes alone, why would you ever commit to the strike? Sean O'Malley uses fakes very well off the back foot to create space, but also to push people back to where he wants them, which is against the fence as well. And again, level change fakes here. And Aljo got to the point in this fight where he was just against the fence, you know. 2 minutes into the first round, this is the opposite of what Aljamain wants in this fight. And it is exactly what Sean is going to need to do to Merab. So we saw here Moraes use the same thing against Merab. Lots of fakes with the leg, which created space. Moraes could let his offensive weapons go. That's what we need to see from Sean in this one. The fakes backing up Merab. And that's stage one, really. The fakes combined with the threat of this push kick. So when Sean's got Aljo here, and he does throw something back, Sean can float backwards. If Sean's against the fence, he's got nowhere else to go. And Sean wants space behind him so he can move backwards and bring you forwards. And that's also when he lets the offense go. He brings you into the dead space, the free space, the space that's created by him staying pressured and then able to drop back, reset, be ready to crash as you step forward. And that's what Sean looks for with a lot of his weapons. He's not really like Conor McGregor, who would walk forward and pressure you. He'd pressure you with offense, with strikes, put you under threat. Sean really pressures with his fakes because he's a counter fighter. He wants you to go first and then drop something in that dead space. So as well as dropping back with the footwork to counter, Sean also will touch with the lead hand. to get you to commit and counter. It's all about counter fighting for Sean O'Malley. So you'll see in lots of his fights, he's using the lead hand, he's faking the lead hand just to get you to bite and step forward. Almeida here drops back, shows him the jab to bring Almeida forward, which is where he's going to want to crack over the top with his counter shots. Now this one's a little close, has to scatter out here against the fence. But you saw this over and over again in this fight with Thomas Almeida. Sean hands down, literally baiting him, throws the jab, pulls out of range, and then comes back with the backhand. Same thing again here, level change, pulls out of range, touch with the jab, and again, right hand over the top. Aldo was quite good in the fight against Merab at slipping the shots on the overcommitments and firing back as well. And that's just kind of the thing we're probably going to see Sean wait for. He wants Merab to go first so he can slip and counter. And Merab, when he does come forward, tends to go in a straight line with his head up. And Jan was able to take advantage of this as well. And it's not just the jabs that Sean uses, it's the touches with the teeps to fade back. We obviously saw this against Aljo, it's the touch with the body teep, the same thing to fade back and then drop the counter shot over the top, and it's how he got the knockout. So Sean O'Malley, if he wants to stop the game plan of Merab, the fakes have got to create space so he can pull him forward and drop his counter shots. And if he doesn't get that reaction, you'll probably see Sean touching with the jab, just again to get Merab to go first, commit first, so he can try and counter. Against Jan here as well, something else Sean has got in his pocket, which we'll talk about. This is interesting because he squares up, plants big overextension with the straight and drops him. But O'Malley's very good at continuing the offense while staying defensively aware. The overhand pulls, steps in, thinks about the uppercut, pulls. He's always ready for the shot because he wants to fire after you. And here again, good sprawl, back on the offense. Thinks about coming in, turns it into a frame to get out of range, to try and come back with the offense as well. At no point is Sean O'Malley the kind of guy that's going to blindly assault you with a flurry of strikes, which is exactly what Merab is. Even when Sean gets you hurt, he's always looking to counter, to make you miss and come back with maximum impact and maximum force on the counter shot. Now this is kind of interesting, right? Because Merab is definitely the kind of guy who sometimes will overcommit and get countered. We're going to look at that, but he's also the kind of guy that doesn't stop once he starts his striking. He chains things together. He keeps moving forward. So if you're a guy who's going to try and slip and counter, if your opponent is still moving forward and still throwing punches, it gets a lot harder than if your opponent threw one and they missed. It's right open for you. So we'll see when Merab gets in striking exchanges, it's all about throwing as many punches as possible, just getting the head off the center line, but also showing the will to fight and using that as part of these exchanges. I mean, he will just flurry off the back foot and just walk forward, even against someone like Jose Aldo. Like, his head is in danger, but it's the will that he's just gonna keep taking all this space that you're gonna give him and just walk you down, because for him, it's about being as imposing as possible. The striking game is more of a battle of minds than it is a physical battle. Even here against Jan, he gets countered on the way in, but this kind of stuff doesn't stop Merab from still moving forward. And that's how he pushes you against the fence, and that's how he changes his wrestling together. Here again, this is the 5th round. You know, this is the kind of pace that Merab's gonna keep up the whole fight. He's gonna keep walking forward, he's gonna keep throwing in volume. So if you're gonna hit and run, you're gonna be on your bike for a long time. Here against Cejudo, you know, he's just standing in the pocket, winging punches, exchanging, getting the head off the center line. But this is when he has the most success, when he can force people into these kind of exchanges. And again, just slinging hands, getting the head off the center line any way he can, and just trying to make contact with the target. It's an interesting concept because you would think that's not what you want to do against Sean O'Malley. Don't run in there and swing like you're Chris Lieben. But if you look at when Sean O'Malley gets hit on the feet, it's when he's been in these prolonged striking exchanges. Against Jan here, he keeps the head up the center, rolls, catches him with the right hand, and then comes back with the left. And Sean's planted his feet trying to roll. Here with the 1-2, keeps the head in the center, comes back with the left hook. And it's a good shot there for Jan. Even against Almeida here, commits to the range in the pocket, barely gets out of the way of that one, and the left and the right hand are behind it. And one more time here, stepping forward, slip roll, bang, right over the top, when O'Malley's going toe-to-toe. And even when he's trying to fire back here, he still gets caught, and of course, this toe-to-toe style helps Jan set up these takedown attempts in this fight. So Merab's striking style, does it match up well with Sean's? No, unless Sean does some of this. Unless Sean plants in front of him, which he has done on occasion, and trades with him, has confidence to slip out of the pocket, then anything could happen. Because Merab is not going to stop chucking punches at you if he can get his hands on you. So we talked about how Sean likes to come back and give space so you can move forward, he can counter. Merab does this too, but he does it with his takedowns. Sometimes he'll be walking pressure in, making it chaotic, and he'll start to back off. And that's when opponents come forward, and that's when Merab doesn't throw strikes, he'll duck under and hit you with a level change. So he almost baits you into that kind of a game where it's like, oh, we're firing, are we? We're gunfighting. No, now I'm level changing and attacking the takedowns. Jab up high, brings the hands up for Jan, and then he can attack the hips nice and easy. And of course, Jan brings his hands up quite high, so there's 49 takedowns attempted in this fight. But if he doesn't get the takedown, something else Merab's really good at, latching onto you. He doesn't shoot and break. If he knows he's not going to get it, he'll even sort of bail on the double leg attempt just so he can lock his hands and take the back. And then we're talking about a completely different fight where there's going to be a lot more grappling involved. And again, he's got a great ability to catch kicks. Nice kick comes up here, big elevation, and immediately he's chopping and sweeping the legs. So this kind of brings the question is how much is the kicking game of Sean O'Malley going to be used in a fight where a guy is very good at catching kicks and getting trips? Again here, just trading with Jose Aldo, and this is also a problem we see with Merab. He has been hit and clipped a bunch of times. And these exchanges are absolutely wild. The hands are all over the place, but the man is still trying to fire back and still getting countered. Here, just toe to toe, why not? Already hurt, swinging for the fences. And again, the defense here in these exchanges is kind of questionable from Merab. Head completely down, gets caught with the uppercut, and he's stumbling all over the shop. And we've seen him hurt like this in this fight against Henry, but he can still clinch and get the takedown. He's not an easy guy to put away. For someone like Sean O'Malley, who sometimes relies on that one perfect shot to send his man down, Merab's the kind of guy that's going to fall and roll and get up and stumble away from you. He's hard to stay on top of and track down. And he's also the kind of guy that's going to swing back during those moments as well. But as we've already seen, that might play into the counter strategy of Sean also. I want to talk about knees as well, something everyone will mention, right? We've got a height difference in this fight, and O'Malley's very good at bringing up these knees up the middle. This is this beautiful combo against Jan, which honestly would have been knockout of the year if it didn't just miss. But you can fully expect those knees to come up the middle for Sean in this one while we're staying on the strike. And we even saw Aldo do exact same thing, bringing that dead space we talked about into a lovely knee off the back foot, And I don't know if Sean's watching tape, but that is right there if Merab's going to keep ducking like that. And here we see, again, the kind of thing we're talking about with Sean, level changing, and not a knee this time, but brings up the kick to the outside as he's caught him off the center line. So these are the kind of weapons I expect Sean to use. He's not necessarily going to be doing a lot of kicking in this fight. Maybe we'll see some head kicks, but the body kicks, the leg kicks, I just think it's too risky against a guy like Merab. So knees up the middle and things like that are definitely probably going to be a weapon that Sean's going to be looking for. Again here, Merab getting wobbled in these exchanges with Henry Cejudo, and off the back foot just firing, but very hard to track down when he gets hurt. He's the kind of guy that just makes things chaotic. And all of this touching as well to bring his man forward so he can again hit this level change and duck underneath. And this is beautiful, doesn't even have the hands locked together, but such strength and technique to be able to finish these kind of takedowns in the center of the octagon as well. There's lots of bouncing from Merab, level changes, striking, and then he's running into his takedowns when he's got his man against the fence. So the takedown attempts get very hard to read after a while. The hands come up again to set up the hips down to the body. And he just kept running these takedowns on Petr Yan in this fight. Key lessons really is for Sean, he doesn't want to stand in front of Merab at any point. You don't want to be in the pocket trading with him, but you also don't want to be covering up because those shots are coming that you open up your legs. So I fully expect O'Malley to stay as long as we've ever seen him in this one, be circling, be moving back to the center and avoiding exchanging and getting set up for those takedowns at all costs. So obviously the main point of offense for Merab is going to be the wrestling in this one. And he's got the ability to get takedowns from so many different positions. We saw some there in the center of the cage. But even when he's got people up against the fence, He's got a very dynamic wrestling game. It's not just your straight freestyle wrestling with double legs. He's got trips from the clinch. He's got judo throws in there as well. This is a lovely opportunity to get an outside trip. As Maurice is too busy focusing on this Greco-Roman and fighting this underhook battle, you can see this right leg slip round the back, and he can just drag him back across that side. He doesn't really need anything more than that. Already got the hands locked around the waist, and he can drag his man off the fence. And of course, once Merab gets on top of you, they call him the Machine because of his cardio, but he does not stop with the ground and pound. We're going to see that. I love this as he shoots past him, but still wraps the leg, rotates on the spot, and then it turns into a snap down. Again, when he can't finish this takedown, he clamps on to this front headlock position and can start attacking another wrestling attempt, walking him to the fence. So Sean, if he breaks a takedown, he has to get clear, or he's going to end up here getting stuffed and trapped and beaten up. And this is just great control, holding on to these positions, and you can chain all kinds of wrestling together here. Again, Jan comes forward, he slips, and again, instead of getting the takedown here, bails on the double leg attempt, rotates to the back, we're here, and he's got trips off the fence. There's like A, B, C with Merab. We're gonna slip, shoot the takedown, doesn't work. Go to the body lock, doesn't work. Run him to the fence. Okay, we're gonna drag, or we can trip. So many different takedowns. As soon as he touches you, you've got to be careful every step of the way. And again, this is Merab against Henry Cejudo, someone whose wrestling is valued enormously, right, amongst the MMA community. Guy went to the Olympics, and here we won a gold medal at the Olympics, but Merab putting the pressure on him, level changing low, attacking the hips, and again, the strength of Merab here gets the hands locked, lifts him up, and walks him all the way across the cage, which we loved, and dumps him down, and it's right to work with his ground and pound from top position. Okay, so we looked at some of Merab's takedowns. Okay, but what about Sean's takedown defense? Because he's actually been really good with it throughout the UFC. We're gonna have a look what Aljamain tried to do, but the Petr Yan fight, he got taken down 6 times, but he also stopped a bunch of them as well. When it comes to standard takedown defense, attacking these doubles, underhooking, trying to lift the man up. He's got a wide base because he's got wide legs, points the toes in the right direction, but he's also doing stuff like this, grabbing inside hips to stop Yan taking the back right here. Slight cage grab as well. Now, he's on the back, but this is very sneaky here. Rather than square up into his man, Sean O'Malley tries to double wrist lock this same side arm. So he controls the hand with 2-on-1. He lifts it up, rotates in, and sneaks this hand for this sort of cross-body underhook on the opposite side. Doesn't turn into the man, comes across the body, and then he can pull him away and break free of these positions. Very Israel Adesanya style in terms of his ability to get off the fence. It is pretty good, and this is the kind of stuff you're going to need with Merab. You can't just defend the takedown, you've got to rip and clear and get off that fence. Again here, against the fence line, Jan's going to step in, chain some offense together, shoot for another takedown here. Sean trying to elevate with the right hand, but I believe this one, Jan gets the hands locked together just like we see Merab and completes a nice dump. But Sean O'Malley, very good at getting back to the feet in these positions. Number 1, push down on the head. Very nice. Number 2, use the long legs to create as much space as possible. Foot on the hips, push him away. More space you have, the more options you have, the more positions you can transition to, the easier to set up. You can see right here, full extension. That hip is off the ground, flying away. And as soon as he comes back with space, he uses that to get a right hand on the inside so he can start turning and building a base. And this is the important leg right here. Jan's controlling with the hands. As soon as this goes, knee to the mat, frame, and he can start building his way back to the feet. And again here, controlling the wrist, pulling on the opposite side underhook and turning away, and then back on the offense as well. That's really good by Sean to get back to the feet. Here we have him clinching up or locking hands with Jan, rotates around to the back in this situation as well, which is where we see Merab go a bunch of times, and a nice takedown from Jan to complete another one. But again, Sean O'Malley, very good off the bottom with submission attempts to help his get-ups. So hits the armbar here, can't get the left leg over, but uses that again to create space by pushing and framing out with his body. Gets Jan to stack, who's really trying to push this lead leg over the top, but flexible. O'Malley can roll back through, almost gets up, doesn't. Right? Now this is what we're talking about, chain wrestling against Merab. But again, O'Malley, nice work. Hand on the inside as if he's going to hit this switch. So when Jan wants to come this way, he can't do it because this right hand is stopping him. And again, knee to the mat, blocks the hip with the right hand, and O'Malley's back to the feet. All very promising when you're looking at Merab's wrestling style compared to Petr Yan's. Here though, we've got O'Malley hooking the inside of the glove. Okay, now this is pretty cheeky. He does this a few times and he's back to his feet, right? I don't know, like hooking the glove in that one. And again here, more wrestling assault from Jan, pushing him up against the fence. Really tight on the underhooks here, but O'Malley can dig an underhook and then again, use that to get off the fence. So O'Malley can wrestle. He can defensively wrestle against the fence. His submissions, he's never got a submission, but he throws up those legs and creates space and uses them to get back to the feet. So another takedown here for Petr Yan, but again, it's the submission game of Sean O'Malley that gets him back to the feet. Right here, trying to create space. Again, naughty, hooking the glove. I'm seeing this, you know, slow motion. Jan knows it, but screw it. He's gonna extend the arm, come over the side and start to attack a Kimura, right? You put your opponent in a submission threat, they have to address it. That's what Sean starts to do. And Sean knows he's not gonna get this Kimura, but what does he need? Once again, he just needs one knee on the mat. As soon as he can get one knee to the mat, he's at stage one of getting himself back to the feet. So when he's ready, he's gonna let go with the Kimura, use it to now push up, because that left knee's already on the mat, and he can get himself back to the feet. So Sean O'Malley, I do rate his get-ups. You know, we've seen him taken down, but we've not really seen him controlled that much. He's always able to find situations to get back to the feet, and it is kind of because of his jiu-jitsu. That's what he uses to create opportunities for himself. Merab, though, is a dangerous guy in these ground and pound positions because he throws a ton of offense. Yes, he controls you positionally, but not in the same way a lot of other wrestlers we've seen do, not like Henry Cejudo used to or Daniel Cormier used to. Merab is about damage. He will hit you and let you get up because he's probably going to shoot another takedown and take you down again, but he wants to get damage. So in all of these positions we've just talked about, maybe Sean finds his way back up to the feet, but how much damage does he take in the process? So again here, nasty position, Merab just holding on and just letting the hands go, punishing, making these positions uncomfortable and staying attached to you as well. And here against Moraes, when he got him down, you know, we see Moraes trying to do what O'Malley does, wrist control, set up arm bars. He's going to try and take the hips off the center line. Merab does not care. She's smashing you all day. If you're throwing hips up, he's not even really like basing up. He's hitting you even more. Extending of the hips, Merab's right back on top, still trying to grab wrist control and like this. He just takes the wrist you're holding and punches you with it. Now, this is a guy that, you know, he's very anti-jiu-jitsu, Merab. He just lets you have an arm. He's going to be more content. I mean, this takes some strength to just pin an arm down to the mat and then punch you with the other hand. That is not something you see every day, guys. You can just splay out your man and drop him, and this is nasty ground and pound. So again, how many takedowns does Merab need to get this kind of damage off? And he shoots 50 takedowns a fight sometimes. But it is kind of hard to assess how well Sean will do defending these takedowns because he's so creative in his takedown defense sometimes, you know? This, for example, happens a lot, Southpaw v Orthodox, you know, we get this lead hand battle where they lock hands. Watch what O'Malley does with this hand as Jan tries to shoot this takedown. He stays locked to it basically the whole time. When he comes down, locks the hand, and as he's trying to bring this arm around the hip, O'Malley's still got the wrist, or the fingers even. So he has to give up and go for a single leg, and Sean O'Malley, very good at defending single leg takedowns. Sean O'Malley's balance is really good, and not many people finish single legs on him. So again, single leg takedown defense from Sean O'Malley. He's getting tree-topped, he's lifting this leg off the ground. But O'Malley is a flexible guy, he's got good balance, he's not bothered, and he can break free from these situations. Aljamain Sterling, every takedown Aljamain shot on O'Malley, he tries for a double leg, he gets one hip out, has to switch to the single, and Sean O'Malley is pretty good at the single leg defense. So this is something else. I mean, he did get stuck in some of these positions and take damage from Aljo, but all of these single legs he was good. And Merab, on the other hand, is great with his single legs. He'll hoist, trip the back foot, kick the back foot, whatever he can do to really, again, this diversity of his wrestling game allows him to hit takedowns from so many different positions or just lock onto the back, again, in these situations. Level change, he's going to grab this single leg takedown, plenty of elevation on it, and this one's an old school turn and headbang, right? And then lift up and drop him once more, and he's clamping on the back against Henry Cejudo, who has really good single leg defense as well. Henry's really good at this bounce. He's dragging him all the way up, then elevates, and of course, again, the kick out from the back foot, landing on top, clamping down. We'll see one more here against Henry as well. Great single leg defense from Henry, staying bouncy, but even here he can step as the leg is between his own legs and finish another takedown. So these are the kind of things I'm looking at when I'm seeing Aljamain Sterling not taking down Sean O'Malley. Oh, they were all single legs. What's Sean O'Malley's defense? He's got great single leg defense. What's the offense like for Merab? Amazing. He has amazing single leg takedowns. So it really depends on what kind of a situation Merab ends up for what takedown he goes to. But it does kind of show as well that O'Malley might be confident in areas he might have holes in that he doesn't know yet until he fights Merab. When we do these breakdowns, okay, I don't always make predictions because I believe ultimately MMA is somewhat unpredictable, right? Anything can fucking happen. I'm not gonna like put my name on the line, right? Because anything can happen. Sean O'Malley does some crazy shit. What if he does this? Goes for the knee, oops, he slips and falls over. Right. And then Merab ground and pounds him and wins. Like anything can happen. And because he has these dynamic strikes he goes for, or even this teep, and he's on his back, you know, Sean O'Malley is kind of going to be the guy who might have these mistakes happen just because he has a bigger arsenal of more techniques that could take him off his feet, you know? And you want to talk about some more stylistic mirroring. After all these body locks, Jan found in the 5th round that he could Grammy roll out, which worked perfectly, right? That was only by the 5th round was he doing it. We've seen Sean use this, you know, against these body lock positions as well. Tries to hit the switch, goes into the Grammy roll, which is really nice for Sean also. But yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting fight. You know, Sean O'Malley has spent so long improving his takedown defense and his jiu-jitsu from the bottom because he is an elite striker. And Merab has been working on his striking because he's so good at getting guys to the ground. It's really a question of whose B-level game is better. Who has the more well-rounded game, really, is probably what this is going to come down to. If Merab can't get the takedowns, has his striking improved enough where he can at least hang on the feet long enough so he can get the takedown? And has Sean improved enough in his defense and his submissions ability that, you know, when we see him come off the Contender Series, we've got a great striker. This whole time, it's like, let's see this guy fight a proper wrestler. Now he's got the belt and he's making another defense. If he hasn't been able to definitively answer that question, it almost feels like, well, was his takedown defense ever good enough, right, to get him this far? Against Jan, 6 takedowns, it's a lot. He got back up. Merab, though, comes with such a volume of takedown that unless Sean can actually find ways to stop Merab moving forward, it could be quite a one-sided fight. Ultimately, the machine, Dvalishvili, you think he is at any point going to take his foot off the gas or not be trying to walk forward and get those takedowns on Sean? He's not. Sean has to land those dangerous shots on the outside to stop the offense or get him to respect the striking enough where those fakes can give him the space that he needs. The space that he needs to work with his back off the fence or the space that he needs to bring Merab forward and drop him in that dead space. So that's what Sean's going to be doing. Countering off the back foot, Merab's going forward. Backwards, forwards, A to B, striker, grappler. It's a completely different clash of styles, this fight. But let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the chat down below. We've had a look now. I know some of you think O'Malley's just going to snipe him from the outside, and some of you probably think O'Malley can't wrestle and he's just going to get taken down. The odds are like a pick'em for this one, so it is super duper close for that exact reason. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown this week though, guys. Yeah, please let me know in the comments down below how you have this one going on. And yeah, thank you for joining us yet again. 306 is going to be fantastic. It is at the Sphere as well. No idea what that's going to look like, but it should still be a good fight. So let me know your predictions and I'll see you on Fight Night.